acting locally is what this campaign is all about. So I decided to come to my local community business block and talk about that and some of the real important issues that are right here in my neighborhood, which is Castro and 18th. So I'm talking to you from a spot that just had a monument to a private patrol officer. Her name was Officer Jane. And she's a perfect example of private control and local control. So the businessmen around here were not so happy with the San Francisco Police Department's patrolling of the area, and they wanted more patrolling and better patrolling and more community-oriented patrolling that was really focused on the folks in the neighborhood. So they hired an Officer Jane from the private patrol, San Francisco Private Patrol, and she patrolled here for many, many, many years. She recently died, and a beautiful, spontaneous monument was put right here in her honor. San Francisco used to be a really freewheeling city. It still is in a lot of ways. And when in its real freewheeling days, they put in the charter the provision for private patrolmen like Officer Jane that could be hired by local communities and businesses. And that's why she was here for all these years and so loved and did such an effective job. So our local supervisor wants to name a park after her. It's a little park down the street, and I'm all for honoring Officer Jane and everything that she and her group of officers stands for. Another issue about community control is right across the street. Right across the street's a lovely dress shop. Well, that almost was a J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, and it might be a dress shop now instead of a big bank, because I went to the zoning hearing and I talked to the zoning hearing folks and I said, well, San Francisco is all about local control, and one thing we need to have is local control of our credit. If we have banks that really understand and know the local businesses and the local people and make decisions wisely based on their knowledge of San Francisco and Northern California, and they get depositors from Northern California, we can have some more control over our community. And the J.P. Morgan is a huge bank, and not only that, but it's very intimately tied with the Federal Reserve and the federal government. And actually, the bank J.P. Morgan is actually part owner of the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve is not just a federal government institution, it's also a private institution owned by the banks. So I thought that that was a good idea for the zoning commission to use its power to tell J.P. Morgan, no, you can't come here and take our money and send it to New York and waste it on who knows what, on loans to dictators or loans to war manufacturers, or even loans to real estate developers to build more sprawl. We want to keep that money here. And I don't know whether I had any effect on the zoning commission, but when I was there, I talked to the lady in charge of making the decision or telling the board, advising the board, and she was very politely to me. So that's all part of acting locally. And now, instead of sucking our money to New York, we have a nice little dress shop here so people can go find dresses. So thanks for listening about my little neighborhood. I hope you can do stuff in your neighborhood to be more empowered to do it.